This is contrast. Here's a graphic design that you can see. It is obviously balanced, but notice the stark contrast, black and white versus color. Contrast, when it's high, like this one, tends to be aggressive. It tends to draw a significant amount of attention. You can even see, for example, the contrast between the text north, all white, and the image, which is various values of darkness. You can also see contrast in color of black and white versus the orange toned image on the left side, as well as the contrast in the word coming soon. All this is designed to draw your attention and then lead you through the piece. The face and the eyes, the subject that we're looking at, demands attention as well. It is large. It is a human being. We're looking at the eyes are looking at us, but then added emphasis occurs with the contrast between black and white and color. Notice the line down the middle, as well as the shape of the face and the direction even of the nose is guiding us down towards the high contrast word north, which is what we likely see second. And then right under that, the word coming soon, which is what we likely see third. Another thing I want you to notice is shapes. There are really two shapes in this piece. One is the triangle made, if you will, by the face. And then look here, this is another triangle. One of the things that you're going to see when we're laying out graphic design, or when you look at graphic design layout, is triangles are very popular shapes. Here is a piece of fine art, and I selected this one to contrast not the color like you saw in the previous one, but notice the contrast in textures. Surrounding the face, all of these very interesting textures and elements and even pieces of scenery. They're very interesting. They form an overall texture, and yet as you dive into it, you can see different things happening. But overall, there is a very strong texture to all that's going on outside of the hat itself, and even the hair. But notice as you move into the face, how smooth the face is. So what you're seeing is a contrast in texture. One other quick point I want to make is that although there isn't really anything significant that she is looking at, the element line can be what is called an implied line. An implied line is not a real line. An implied line is typically a line from somebody looking to where they are looking to. We, when we look at images like that, tend to follow the line of sight, even though there's no physical line there. We're going to look up there. If there was a word or something up there, her line of sight, the implied line, would guide us and encourage us to look in that direction. Here's a piece of photography. The contrast isn't necessarily in texture, although there is texture contrast. Notice the texture of the leaves versus little texture in the actual flower. The contrast is in color and value. The leaves have a dark green color. Green is the color. The darkness is the value. It has a dark value. Whereas the flower doesn't have a lot of color and it is very white. And so the value contrast between the darkness and the lightness is what demands our attention, why we are attracted instantly to that flower. And then there's some additional elements that are going on that's helping us be even more attracted to the flower. And that is, you'll notice that all around the flower, there are not a lot of leaves. This area right here is space, and it's dark space, which even adds more to the contrast of the flower. All in all, contrast adds tension, contrast adds aggressiveness in many cases, especially when they're juxtapositioned, which means set side by side. And contrast, in most cases, is going to have a significant effect on emphasis.